we're back again, but this time with an unboxing, guys. Welcome back. It's BAM Comics, Sideshow Collectibles, and Star Wars The Child unboxing. Go, 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 go. It's Sideshow BAM Comics. Welcome back, guys. So this is a new video, and today what we're going to do is we're going to non-spoil the heck out of episode chapter 3. What we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to unbox this Sideshow Collectibles The Child and give you some non-spoiler review impressions of chapter 3 of The Mandalorian. So let's just get into it. And if you're just joining us, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that like, and hit those notifications for the latest and the greatest news, reviews, product reviews, on unboxings. You know me, I love Star Wars. And this episode of The Mandalorian just brought back that classic feeling. So the show is on a trajectory. So the first chapter was 5 stars to me. It was started off as amazing, and it was the longest of the 3 episodes. And the second episode was a little bit shorter, and it went to like a 3 stars. This one is definitely a 5-star chapter of The Mandalorian. And you know what? Anytime you have an episode involving anything that you have to steal, it's a really exciting episode. Chapter 2 was more like an escort mission. Whoa, guys! So you see the Sideshow shipper. Big shout out to Sideshow Collectibles for sending us this one. The Child! This, we have 1 or 2 of these guys here. This is awesome. I don't even know what I see there. What is that? Mandalorian Child artwork. That is awesome. That's like the production stills and the art after the show that you see it. We're gonna open it and we're gonna see what's inside. I am unbelievably shocked. The reason I like Sideshow Collectibles so much, the reason I love Sideshow Collectibles is because of the detail. These guys always getting the detail on point. I've never been disappointed with a Sideshow purchase. Some amazing figures. Congratulations on acquiring the assets. Would you like a libation? Haha! Shit on just like, it's a card that's just like a thank you card of Sideshow Collectibles. Thank you. We'll be in contact. Thank you for cooperation. Gain points as you purchase items. This one has like a double styrofoam protection with a seal wrapped in there. Yeah, getting back to the episode, without spoiling it, I mean, you know, Mando is still on his quest, and after he does the Uber mission, he gets into I have to steal something mission, as he's tasked with returning the child to the Jedi. So that's not a spoiler, we know that. But, this episode was amazing, and it features Imperial, just soldiers again, getting back into that world of, you know, what happened after the fall of the Empire. And to me, those stories were always the best types of stories. So anything with Imperial soldiers, officers, and just the workings of that world, I'm all for it. Okay, guys, so here's the Sideshow styrofoam. I just broke the seal. Oh my God. First, let's take out the stand, okay? The stand is quite heavy. So you have like detailing on the stand, and this really feels like a solid heavy stand. You have the artwork of the Mandalorian life-size child figure, life-size style, like statue, right? Limited edition. I like the artwork on this. It's nice. It has the legs there. It's so cool. Okay, have that. Let's put that down. And of course a peg. And then we have the child itself. Look at this. This thing is cute as hell. It's like real hair on it. That's nuts. Let's see if we can make stand him. Look, here's his legs. Hey guys, so this is like Sideshow Collectibles The Child life-size figure. So this is the actual height of the figure here. You have real hair on the head. That's actually real hair that they have there. And the ears are soft. It's really, it doesn't really have any motion. It's just, it's static, but I think I like it better this way because it's like more like a statue. Now, looking at it, the eyes are crazy, guys. Look at the eyes. That's nuts. That's like some, I don't want to touch that because I'm gonna have a fingerprint on it, but that looks like some glass material. You could guys, you could remove it from the base, but this is really meant to just be a static piece. This is not really meant to be a piece that you hold. Like, it's crazy. These hairs. I'm not saying real human hair, but I don't know. This thing looks nuts. As you're expecting all of this stuff out of the box, it's really just the base, the life-size figure, and the shift knob that comes in his right hand. That's a magnet. This is the shift knob, right? Famous in the Mandalorian episode, he gives him something to play with, this shift knob. That goes in his hand right there with a magnet. See? So it's a really cool piece. It's a static piece, but you know, would I have wished maybe a little bit of articulation? Yeah, but it's no big deal. It still is an amazing piece to add to any Star Wars aficionado's collection. You know, I don't know if the material is real statue, but it's not soft either. It's, some pieces are soft, some pieces are very hard. His fingers are hard. You know, his face is like a statue. Now, you're so cute. Man, you are adorable. I don't want to mess around with you because I know you have force powers. The Empire is a force to be reckoned with. Even though they were separated, they're really still underground. They're still really a force to be reckoned with. So this one didn't really have Baby Yoda. The child, I keep saying Baby Yoda, the child wasn't in this episode like that. But nevertheless, it was an amazing episode. That thing looks real! Hello. This thing is like, you really can't appreciate it until you stand a little bit back from it and see it. Like, seeing it like this, it doesn't need no articulation or anything. Even if it did that, that'd be spooky. But this thing is crazy. And stay tuned for our spoiler review of Chapter 3. Chapter 3 was just amazing, back on track, but it's the shortest of the episodes, coming in at about 35 minutes, I believe. And so the only knock I have against this episode, I mean, I would say it's 5 stars. They mentioned so much from the Star Wars universe and so many callbacks. Stay tuned for a spoiler talk of chapters 1, 2, and 3. And this has been the Sideshow unboxing of the Mandalorian, the Child Star Wars life-size figure. So, if you don't want the spoilers, remember the next scene, we're gonna have spoiler talk, okay? So, thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. This has been OC from BAM Comics. And make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and hit those notifications. Because we got way more, man. We got way more unboxings, way more toys, way more statues, and more of everything coming at you in BAM Comics. Alright, if you stayed this long, we're going to talk spoilers. So, guys, beyond this point, it's all spoilers for Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. And I'm just going to basically give you my impressions of it and what I think is cool. So, starting from Chapter 1, man, it just opened with a bang. That's just a fact. And Cobb, you know, seeing this new sheriff in town as the Mandalorian descends. Man, the Mandalorian with this guy, it's like he's getting like left and right, you know, 365 degrees, can get killed. Like he's being hunted across the galaxy, and the fact that he touches down in that first opening episode, first opening scene in the premiere, in the match, right? There's like this wrestling match or death match, and he's in the stadium, the Mandalorian, and they're giving him some info. Man, it's just like so badass. You know, he takes everyone out with his little birds. You know, it's the introduction of the little birds again. We see them. They were introduced in season 1. Now in season 2, the little birds go out and they do their business. So Mando still has tricks up his sleeve when he resupplied from the armor. And the fact that it's just like Baby Yoda, the child, I don't know why I keep saying Baby Yoda, the child knows that Mando's gonna kick all these guys' asses, right? So he's gonna kick butt, right? You know that. So he hides in the pram, and Mando just like goes off on everybody. So it turns out that Mando, you know, needing to get to the Mandalorians to find info of where to reunite this child, runs into a town that's really, you know, it's basically we're going back to a familiar place, right? And there is, you know, this town that Mando sees, and he goes into where he meets Cobb Vanth. So Cobb, man, he had that Mandalorian armor. I saw him with Boba Fett's armor. I was like, oh, snap! Something is gonna happen. Is this Boba Fett or not? And he takes off his helmet. It just seems it was some guy who has Boba Fett's armor. But what's so interesting about this episode is how they go about, you know, telling the audience how Cobb, who's the sheriff of this town, who's the marshal, who's the one that tells people what to do, played by Timothy Olyphant, right? Or Olyphant. Timothy is the man, you know, and he whooped butt in this episode. The fact that he had that armor, but that he knew how to use it. So right after the fall of the Empire, we see flashbacks where Cobb is explaining how all of this stuff came to be, and that was so interesting. The fact that they let this episode breathe, you know, I believe 54 minutes. The first episode of season 2, the premiere, was so strong. And part of the reason why it was so strong is because they let this world breathe. 54 minutes. It's not like a 20-minute thing, you know? It's like, okay, now we're seeing Star Wars from the eyes of someone else. And I like that a lot. I think it was really well done. And the fact that he's telling the Mandalorian, okay, I got this armor from the Jawas, which the Jawas in their sand tank crawler must have acquired Boba Fett's armor somehow. But how did that armor fall into the Jawas is what I want to know. So hopefully they explain that a little bit later on from the point of view of Boba. But what I thought was great again in this episode, there's just, you know, unlike episode 2, which, you know, it has a few things that I liked about it. Episode 1 was just chock full of stuff, man. Episode 1, it was like Ben & Jerry's, like, crazy combination of 100 flavors. That was that first episode because they stuffed so much into that 54-minute story about how he acquired the armor, how Cobb acquired the armor was so crazy. How after the fall of the Empire, in the flashbacks, it looks like the mining company took over as well. So, you know, there's always going to be tyrants in the world. So as soon as the Empire falls, there's a new baddie to fill in the void almost immediately. So the night of celebration, people in the town got slaughtered because, of course, they need to pay up for the mining company now that the Empire is not a presence. So Cobb, being Cobb, he's not going to take this lying down. He's going to fight back. With sand people, you got sand people with their own history It's crazy, man. They're really going into the mythology and the lore of Star Wars, and that's why episode 1 was like a 5 out of 5, and then they help, you know, together they work as a team, blasting this monster, they kill it, and then he takes home a big piece of meat. That was cool. And then in the shadows at the end of the episode, you see looking from above, on a mountain range, on a dune, Boba Fett. How cool is that? Boba is alive! Man, now, he sees when Cobb gives back the armor to Mando. So, is he gonna kill Mando? Are they gonna work together? What's gonna happen? Second episode, I said, was an Uber episode. He needs more information. So, he basically gets in contact with one of his old buddies in season 1. And she's like a mechanic who runs a mechanic shop. And she tells him, listen, I know a friend that needs a favor that could help you out. It's a fish lady with eggs. Now, what I didn't like about the episode, it was all like just, you know, Mando just needs to do this mission to get closer to where the real Mandalorians are. But the fact of the matter is that he's just a taxi cab in this episode, fearing the woman's last race, the fish lady's last race of eggs. And if he does that, he's promised that he will meet the fish lady's husband, who knows where the location of these Mandalorians are. Keep in mind that he's wearing Beskar armor. Okay, Mando's wearing Beskar armor, and that's worth a pretty penny on the market. So they're traveling in space, and all of a sudden they get pulled to the side by 2 X-Wings, like cops, you know? And they basically inform Mando. Now, Y-Wings or X-Wings, I'm not 100% sure, but he gets pulled over by the squad, 2 of them, and they basically telling Mando, your registration is out of date. Which is like, Mando's trying to avoid it. He's like, yes, there's a beacon, man, some BS, and these guys want him to go over to the nearest port. Mando's not about to do that, alright? He needs to bounce, okay? Because his ship is pre-registration. And it's basically off the radar because it's pre-registered. So now he's in trouble with these X-Wings. So he has to fly the Razor's Crest. He flies it into a planet, and it's almost like we're reliving, you know, Han Solo and the Falcon when he went into a cave and there was a big monster. So we already had a big monster in episode 1. So episode 2, again, a big monster. This is why I wasn't so thrilled with the episode, because we had already a big monster. Yeah, it's Star Wars. It's a universe full of monsters. But I want something new, right? I've seen the whole ship stuck in a cave with a monster in it shtick already. I've seen it. But this is turns out to be this episode, and it looks like if it wasn't for the help of the X-Wings, Mando would have died. So, I mean, I wanted to see how the Mandalorian would actually get out of that situation himself. But no, it was the X-Wings people who helped him out. Mando was transporting these woman eggs, and this little guy right here is busy eating the last race of this woman. The eggs are not fertilized, but who cares if they're not? He's eating them. He shouldn't be eating them. Why are you eating them, guy? I guess the only things that I liked about episode 2 are the appearance of the X-Wings, but I just wish that Mando would have gotten out of that situation himself without the help of those X-Wings. He was trapped in a cave, and there were spiders, and then the whole episode just became like with spiders and stuff. Like, look, the set piece. Mando in the first act drops the fish lady to her husband, okay? That actually should have been episode 2. Whatever. This episode should have been episode 2. And episode 2 could have just been erased and have episode 3 be episode 2. Because he just drops the fish lady to her husband. Right? We didn't need that second episode. Just drops her to the husband. The husband confirms, hey, listen, go with these guys. They'll take you to the Mandalorians. These guys being the octopus pirates. So, these guys are bad news, okay? I wouldn't want to be stuck in a boat with these guys, but the Mandalorian has Beskar armor, and these guys are like, look, we trapped you, you're dead. It looks like the Mandalorian is going to die right there, because he's submerged underwater, and there's a cage, and there's no way that he's escaping that. There's no solution, and they're basically poking, these pirates are poking Mando, you know, every time he tries to reach up for the cage, and it looks like he's gonna drown. He's done, and the child just got swallowed up in this storm. It's a crazy sequence. Now, for an episode that's 30 minutes long, and listen, guys, that's not the end of the episode. That's the middle of the episode, okay? Because something else happens toward the end of the episode that's just insane crazy, okay, guys? Boom. No, Mando gets trapped below decks in an underwater cage as these octopus pirates keep poking and prodding him, and he can't escape. And the moment you think that Mandalorian is done and the child is in the jaws of danger, out comes the Mandalorians. Some badass guys in heavy armor with lasers that shoot out multiple targets, and they completely single-handedly decimate the pirates on that ship, freeing Mando and freeing the child. They're just like, these guys are an elite squadron. However, they see that the Mandalorian has his Beskar armor, that he has the Mandalorian whole outfit, and there's a respect, there's a common brotherhood, except for these guys are not the real Mandalorians, which are part of a religious order that, you know, that deify weapons, okay? They're not part of the old way, you know? They're not part of the ancient way. They're not part of the way, basically. And Mando, he's die-hard, you know, true blood Mandalorian. He's part of that way. He's part of that established ancient tradition, their ancient heritage. And he's all about honor, you know? And these guys, they just want to hijack some weapons so they can take back their home planet of Mandalore. But first, she needs the dark saber. You know, and she also tells at the end of all this, I'm getting way ahead of myself. They basically need to hijack these weapons. Now, any episode involving anything that has to do with a hijack, as I said earlier, or a robbery, those are good episodes because it usually means A, there's a package that needs to be acquired, and B, there has to be a fight to get that package because it's being defended by something. And now, who's defending these weapons on a transport that these Mandos have to jump? The Empire! Guys, we see stormtroopers in this episode. It's insane! I'm telling you, I love stormtroopers. Anytime I see those guys, it reminds me of like Darth Vader, the old Empire, and it's just great. So they basically, the Mandos, the Mandalorians, and of course Mando, they, you know, they use your packs. They get on this thing. It's a transport, right? It's like transporting weapons, right? So they go in there and it's like a blast, like literally, like they're, you know, they start from the outside of the ship and they work their way inside. You know, as the ship is leaving, you know, in this robbery, in this high-tech robbery, as the ship is leaving out of orbit, right, out of the planet's orbit, that's when they're gonna hijack it. So as soon as they jump in and they start eliminating guards on the outside, they breach the inside, and somehow they, you know, they let the people know that they're in there already, and they're fighting. Now, what's characteristic about what's a good callback is that a lot of these stormtroopers, you know, and this is like a Star Wars staple, they can't aim. They have no aiming skills. They're really bad at combat. All they really have is numbers, which is what these guys have. These guys have a lot of numbers of Imperial guards. So it's okay if they can't aim or whatever. They just keep walking forward. So as they keep walking forward, you see the Mandalorians doing all types of crazy maneuvers, mowing down all of these guards. Now, what's interesting as well is that in this episode, you have 2 commanding officers of rank on the ship. And I think they have like 3 squares. I'm not really sure what the medals signify, but I think it's cool how there's a consistent theme and ranking of the officers. So you can see it wasn't really experienced, right? So they locked the doors and they assumed that already the Mandalorians have taken almost the entire ship except for the bridge. And so they locked them in one section, and they think they got the drop on them. They're telling the pilot, listen, we got them trapped, send reinforcements. Mando opens up the dock and flushes all of these Imperial people out of there. It was nuts, to say the least. Strategy on Mando for hitting that button, opening the airlock. The guy calls out to the pilot. There's 2 pilots piloting this thing and 1 commander, who is Bosch, right? On the series show Bosch, this guy, I forgot his name, but he's a, you know, established actor as well in his own right. And he basically calls Moff Gideon to say, hey, we need backup. We got these guys locked down. And Moff is like, well, guys, if they've taken that much of the ship already, sending backup is not, won't, you know, matter anything because they've already taken the whole ship. So you know what you have to do. And in that moment, he kills the 2 pilots, the commanding officer on the Imperial ship, kills the 2 pilots, and starts a suicide attack, a suicide run to crash the ship into the planet. So no one's getting these weapons, and all of the Mandalorians, they're gonna be dead. It was just so nuts, that power reversal of what the Empire is willing to do to hold on to power, even sacrificing pawns like this. So that what ended up happening, of course, you know that Mando saved the day. They broke in there at the last minute, got the ship to turn course. It was almost gonna plunge into, like, I think the ocean or something. It was so exciting to see the scene and this dynamic cat and mouse game between, you know, really the big cats are the Mandalorians and the little mouses are the Empire. But soon to see that the dynamic of power switched when they went into that suicide kamikaze dive of the Imperial ship housing the weapons that the Mandalorians needed. At the end of the episode, since Mando did help them out, his whole thing is like, you know, I hope you get the weapons, now you gotta help me out thing. She's like, you gotta see Ahsoka. I'm like, Ahsoka? Like, what? Guys, you know Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, and it is crazy that we're going to be seeing Ahsoka portrayed by Rosario Dawson maybe this coming Friday, which is going to be nuts, guys, to see Mandalorian and a Clone Wars Jedi, Ahsoka. Of course, she's going to know what to do with the child. She probably has links to Jedi. It's crazy. She could be talk about Anakin. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it is nuts, guys. This blew my mind, and the fact that the main Mandalorian captain, I forgot her name. You know, I sure have notes to remember this, but I just get so excited. Is that she's looking for the Darksaber. And the only one who has that is Moff Gideon. So this one is a 5-star episode. And it's crazy how much they managed to condense in 35 minutes, guys. This episode was 35 minutes long, and they managed to condense so much into it. I think my only complaint of the episode, and it's very minuscule, is that I wish the episodes were just like a little bit longer. That's the appeal of the show, right? Since it's so short and sweet and you want more. There was a mysterious figure who watched Mando get on the ship, and it wasn't a Mandalorian and it wasn't a Jedi. It may be a Sith, okay? I'm not 100% certain, but from what I see, it may be a Sith, okay? So it looks like the Sith are also following the movements. The dark side is following Mando, and we just have to see how this turns out, guys. So that has been my spoiler review of The Mandalorian. Again, okay, I give this episode 5 stars, and that was my spoiler review of it. You know, my non-spoiler, if you didn't see that, then the non-spoiler was first episode 5, second episode 3 stars. Okay, so my review of Mandalorian Chapter 3, The Heiress. So this has been OC for BAM Comics. You know, if you liked our video reviews, if you like our movie reviews, our product reviews, make sure you hit that notification, hit that subscribe button, and hit that like for more BAM Comics. This has been OC from BAM Comics, wishing you guys an awesome week. Stay cool, keep on collecting, and I'll see you guys on the next BAM Comics, guys. Peace.